So today, my friends, we're doing street photography with the Sony Xperia 1 Mark VI. The aim is to put it through the ultimate test and trying to figure out if this camera is like actually good enough or if it's all just a big old marketing hype.
By the way, this video is not sponsored by Sony in any shape or form, so I'll be telling you guys my honest opinion of this device, what I really liked about it, and also the few things that I've, haven't liked.
So as you can see, then we are currently running around the streets of Stockholm trying to figure out what it is that we can capture with this phone. And one thing I think is important to note here is that when we are outside taking street photos, then not all of our shots will become masterpieces, obviously. And since the main aim of this video is to try to figure out how good the Xperia 1 Mark VI is, then I'll be taking a lot of different types of photos in many different street scenarios.
Alright, so first thing first, let's talk about the settings that I use when I'm photographing with the Xperia. I like to use the Pro mode. That just gives me the most amount of control, and that I do like. Now, one thing that the Xperia does well is we get incredible amount of control. It feels like using a little small camera. We'll touch that later. Another thing that we will also touch on later is that if you have used Xperia before, you notice that they have a new app. They bundle together all of the maps, so we don't have access to the old Photography Pro, which I like, and I'll give you guys my opinion on that a little bit later in the video as well. But I shoot in JPEG and RAW. I like to capture both the JPEGs and the RAW files because with the RAWs, obviously, I have more control when it comes to editing, but the JPEGs on this phone is also quite good. The processing the phone does is, I like it, so I like to have the option. Plus, I'm not worried about space, because I'm gonna take all of the photos and then put them on the computer afterwards. Then, I like to film or photograph in auto mode when I'm in run and gun environment. So up here, I have the P, which is just the auto mode, and then I might put the ISO myself or have the phone do it for me. The reason I like that is in a run and gun environment, things change so much, so just trust the phone to do the job. The one thing that I like to change myself or decide is the exposure. And I usually like to underexpose my photos a tiny. By the way, it is really sunny today, not my favorite type of weather, by any stretch of the imagination. However, it does offer some, really good conditions to put this phone to the test, because we're working with some harsh shadows, really putting that dynamic range and pushing that, seeing how it does in that environment. So yeah, let's play around with the shadows here, and then later on, I actually think it's gonna rain. I was looking at the weather, so hopefully it will rain a little bit. Let's see if the weather gods are with us, because rainy photography, that's my favorite type,
Now, what I've always liked about street photography is that you never really know what you're going to find. It's a constantly changing and moving environment with people coming and going. The light is also shifting throughout the day. And I feel like it's our job to try to capture that moment in time while also trying to line up the perfect frame. It's like the stars all of a sudden align and you're yes, I got that shot. And that's something that I just truly love.
By the way, the telephoto lens is something that I think we need to talk about. It is a real optical zoom up to 170 millimeters. Now, I like that a ton. It offers a lot of variety, and for street photography as well as landscape photography, that's something that I appreciate because you can get that compressed look. Now, there's no question about it that on previous model, the zoom lens used to be quite soft, pretty a lot soft. But I feel like they've done some update here. At least it's turning out good, in my opinion. I like it. It's not as good as the 24 millimeter lens, which is a great lens on this phone, but it's still pretty usable. Plus the fact that you have real optical zoom on a smartphone, that's innovative, at least if you ask me. However, you need to be careful when you use it, because if the shutter speed is too low, then you're gonna get some movement and the photo will turn out little bit shaked out, and it feels like it's not as sharpened. Now, this is a problem on all types of telephoto lenses, whether it is on a phone or with your camera. It's much easier to get some shake in it. But on a bright day like I am here, the shutter speed is kind of just through the roof because I have no anti-filters on it, and yeah, it's turning out pretty pleasing in my opinion.
Now, one thing I want to add about telephoto lenses in regards to street photography is that personally I've always appreciated having them, especially when I'm photographing people, because I'm not that comfortable being up in the faces of strangers and photographing them. Some people are. I like to be a little bit further away, and you can be more low key while still getting photos of people that you don't know. And that, maybe a little bit creepy saying it, but I like that when it comes to street photography.
By the way, I know what you're thinking, man, is everything just positive about the phone? No. There are some juicy things that we'll get to a little bit later on. Now, when it comes to editing smartphone photos, then there is one thing that I think is absolutely crucial, and I always do. I do it to kind of all my photos, but especially for smartphone photos, and that is that I like to go up here in the basic and take down the clarity just ever so slightly, and down with the texture as well if needed. What I'm doing here, I'm basically just taking away that digital edge which smartphone cameras tend to give us. It looks really digital, and I'm making it more natural by de-sharpening the photo a little bit. Now, I have to give credit though to Xperia here. One thing that I've always liked about this phone is that compared to many other that I've tried, then the Xperia is able to capture and give me more natural looking photos. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Sony makes great cameras in real life, so they have all of that technology which is just pushing into a smartphone. This is just like a mini alpha camera in a smartphone, which is cool. Then you have the size coating on the glass on your good lenses, so maybe it's because of that. I don't know, but nonetheless it's still a smartphone, so I like to take down the clarity either way, and I do it too on my big cameras, but a little bit more on when I'm using a smartphone. Then I just like to edit my photos like normally. I use my preset packs all the time as base, just find what looks good and then work from there. And I think the raw files from it, they can handle being pushed around quite a lot. So yeah, it's pretty decent. Anywho, I don't really see what I'm doing on the screen. It's way too sunny, and this is not the brightest idea that I've ever had in my life. So let's continue getting the photos, okay? Now, one thing that I personally like to do, whether I'm photographing with my phone or with my camera, then that is to protect the highlights by underexposing the photos a little bit. And on this phone, when I'm in Pro mode, you can just control the brightness here by how many stops underexposed. It's up to you. And then if you're in regular photo mode, you just click on it and then you take it down, up or down. And the reason we're doing this is simply due to the fact that it's much easier to retrieve the information in the shadow areas than in the highlight area. So if you've overblown your highlight parts and they're too bright, then it's much easier to retrieve the shadows. So protect your highlights at all times, my friend. By the way, I'm excited to share with you guys that I've partnered with my favorite music licensing platform to bring you guys this video. That's Artlist. I've been getting my music and sound effects there for years, and in my opinion, they're simply just the best. You see, I've been creating YouTube videos now for almost a decade, and I've pretty much tried all of the music providers out there, and Artlist has by far the highest quality. They're not filling their library with some bunch of garbage just to have higher numbers, but they still have over 28,000 different music tracks to choose from, which is a vast and a massive library. And also, I think if I'm not mistaken, over 72,000 sound effects, and they're still making it updating it all the time. So it's just getting bigger and better and better. Now, all of that music is of course royalty free, and one of many things that I've always liked so much about Artlist is how simple and easy it is to navigate through the platform and find the perfect music that you're looking for. You see, when it comes to create the mood and the feeling of your videos, then music is everything. And I honestly can spend so much time just trying to find the perfect track, because a track can kind of make or break your video. And on Artlist, I just love the fact that I can easily find what mood of music I'm looking for by just using these filters. And another cool feature that I really like is once I find the tune that I dig a lot, then I can just click this button right here and it's gonna show me similar music to that track. Anywho, down in the description there's a link which will give you 2 months extra of your yearly subscription. And then for all of you guys that really want to take it to the very next level, then Artlist also offers Artlist Max, which is something that I encourage you to check out because that's just Artlist honestly taking it to a whole nother level for a monthly price that I'm not even sure how they're able to provide it. It's like way too good. Again, in the description there are links, check them out, and yeah, continue with some photography. By the way, I really want to try this phone out for nighttime street photography. However, it's like middle of the May, so summer is just around the corner here in the north. That means that the sun sets quite late. And I have 2 small kids, so I need to get, or I don't need to, they wake me up really, really early. So I can't like be up that late. I'm getting old, my friends. So I'm thinking, what if we just go down to the metro station here? It's quite epic here in Stockholm, and I think we might get some pretty cool photos. Let's at least try, okay?
The sky is the most evening style. I'm sure she knows I love her, though I don't know what to say. I'd like to know the meaning of her smile. Her cheeks are fair as roses and her eyes are bright as blue. Her manner quite as charming as a queen.
By the way, it's not low enough light here in the metro to really put this low light like capabilities to the test. Plus, it's only working on the 24mm, the nighttime mode on the Xperia. Now, I have tried it out in other videos, so you can like check it out. It is really good. It has some like AI magic going on where it's denoising, it's pushing it up like the ISO to 6,000, even 12,000. It still looks pretty sharp and good. So it is pretty nice. However, let's get up and see if some rain, like enough of this metro nonsense down here, okay?
Now, the old Nordic rain gods had clearly heeded my prayers, and luckily yours truly was equipped with a rain jacket in his backpack. So let's see what this phone, can do in the rain.
Now, there's no question about that even like a Medicore, like regular camera is gonna be better than like most phones or all phones. I mean, like your phone can't really compete with a full frame sensor or an APS-C sensor. So why on earth would you then like want to pick a phone over for example, a camera? I mean, is there anything that the phone can do better? And in my opinion, there actually is. You see, a phone is a lot more stealthier than a camera, and when it comes to street photography, that's something that I like. I don't think that people like that much when you're in their face taking photos of them, and personally, I don't like to, like when I'm out there taking photos of people and they see me being like, hey, are you taking photos of me? I don't like that. And this is much stealthier than a big camera. Plus, because it's your phone, it's so small and lightweight, and it's like an everyday carry item. You always got it with you, and having like the capabilities of taking good photos with a device that is in my pocket at all times, it's something that I personally value a ton. Because even me, who's taking photos all the time and making videos as a living, I don't carry this with me all the time. I'm almost always with a backpack, but still this is with me way more. And sometimes I just want to whip out like the phone from a pocket and get some like usable, and not only usable, some good photos and videos. And the slim, lightweight design of the Xperia makes it like good in that department because it's not as like heavy and bulky as other phones that I've tried. However, it's like not perfect, of course. Nothing really is right, and there's no exception here. And there are a few things that I think can be done better, so let's call this like room for improvement if you Sony folks are watching this. The first thing is that like I know that they've made the like telephoto lens a much better than from the previous models. As I mentioned previously, it was quite soft. Now it's a lot better, and actually I like it a ton. However, I still think there's room for improvement, and I would like to see it better. For instance, the 24mm lens on the Xperia 1 Mark VI, it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. The other two lenses, they don't have the same capabilities as the 24mm, and if we would get the same capabilities as the 24 has on the other two, I don't think there would be a phone then on the market, at least when it comes to photography capabilities, that could compete with this. This is just my humble opinion, but I do think that. Secondly, in my experience, then phones tend to have problems when it comes to responsiveness, like how fast they're taking photos, which a proper camera doesn't have. Now, I have to be fair here that I do think that of all of the phones I've tried, then Xperia has least of that problem. And it's maybe due to the fact that Sony is actually like a company that makes top-of-the-line cameras. So they know how to make, the alpha cameras are great. This entire video is filmed on Sony cameras and everything else that I do. So they know how to make cameras. However, when it comes to the bokeh mode, although it's a cool feature, then it's quite slow and clunky. And I feel that when I'm using it, it's loading so much, trying to probably come up with this bokeh, that I having a hard time switching between lenses. And then when I want to get the shot, it's already slipped past me and I lose it. And that's something that is definitely a room for a big improvement there. Thirdly, the phone has an exceptionally long battery life, which is not a bad thing, but it comes at the cost that they've taken reduced the quality. The screen resolution was 4K on the previous Xperia model, and now it's full HD on the Mark VI, which I think some people will find not nice because it's a downgrade. But I have to say that I don't see any difference. This doesn't bother me at all. And yeah, but I want to throw it out there because I think some will be like, hey, why are they making the quality less? But now you have a really nice battery life. Lastly, comes down to the new app. It is great. I mean, it was definitely time for an upgrade there, and I like that they've bundled all of the maps together and just making it more simple and a more intuitive experience. However, I wish that they've had the old apps as well, because those were all sick, and it can't be hard to get them just downloadable for those that we want. And I know that we are gonna get the videography app soon, but maybe also the photography app. It was really cool. So this was all about street photography, but what about different types of scenarios and videography too? Is it good there? Well, I did a full in-the-field test the other day, and next you should watch this video because it has a lot more answers than this video that you just watched.